What if everything you believe about yourself is wrong? What if the limits you think are natural, the fears that haunt you, even the idea that you are only human, were never yours to begin with? What if your entire sense of identity has been carefully shaped to keep you small, to keep you distracted, to keep you asleep? The most dangerous truth in all of history has never been printed in the books you can buy, nor spoken from the pulpits of religion, nor taught in schools. It was hidden on purpose. Long ago, the Egyptian god of wisdom, Thoth, tried to warn humanity. He revealed knowledge that could set people free. But because this truth was too powerful, his teachings were twisted, hunted, and buried deep. And the forbidden truth he tried to give us is this: you are not what you think you are. Everything you call you, your identity, your story, your memories, your limitations, your fears, is not who you really are. It is a mask, a program, a carefully designed illusion to keep you blind to your real power. You are not just human. You are not a victim of circumstances. You are the very source of divine creativity itself. You are the key that unlocks your own prison, though you have forgotten you hold it. Yes, there is a system that thrives on your forgetting. But the shocking secret is not that this system exists. The shocking secret is how to break it. And here is where the story takes a turn no one expects. The way out is not through fighting. The way out was hidden in plain sight, in the story of the most hated traitor in history. And to be free, you must dare to perform the same act of betrayal. Not betrayal of truth, but betrayal of illusion. Think about it. Do your fears really belong to you? Or have they been planted in you like whispers from a system designed to keep you trapped? This system is not just a group of people sitting in a dark room plotting your downfall. It is far more subtle. It is an architecture of control built from ideas, beliefs, narratives, and distractions designed to hijack your most precious power, your attention. Where your attention goes, your creative energy flows. And when your attention is stolen, your power is stolen. That is why you live in a world of endless news cycles, constant alerts, and infinite scrolling. These things are not designed to inform or connect you. They are designed to trap you. And the easiest way to trap human attention is through low emotions: fear, anger, outrage, division. Every shocking headline, every tragic story, every furious online debate is bait. And every time you take the bait, you are not just reading, you are giving away your power to build a reality of fear and conflict. The ancients had a word for this: putrefactio, the stage of rotting. First, the system rots your peace of mind with constant negativity. Then it hardens that decay into a false identity: the victim. Once you believe you are a victim, you begin depending on outside saviors, governments, experts, corporations, gurus. And once you do that, you are easy to control. Isn't it strange that the more information you consume, the more powerless you often feel? Thoth warned us about this thousands of years ago. He said darkness does not need armies to rule. It only needs to manipulate vibrations, your emotions, your frequency. When they control how you feel, they control how you live. They don't chain you by force. They convince you that your hopelessness is natural, that the cage you live in is the only reality. And then they even make you decorate that cage. But here is the truth the system fears most: Your awakening threatens its very existence. Because once you remember who you are, you stop giving your power away. You stop consuming to fill a void, and you start creating from inner fullness. A person who discovers their inner divinity can no longer be controlled. So where is the key? It was hidden in the story of Judas Iscariot. For 2,000 years, Judas has been remembered as the ultimate traitor. But what if Judas was not a villain at all? What if Judas was the only disciple who truly understood the mission? The word betray comes from tradir, which means to deliver, to reveal. Judas did not betray Jesus. He delivered him. He revealed the secret. And what was that secret? That salvation is not an external figure you worship. It is a state of consciousness that lives within you. Jesus was the embodiment of this truth. But as long as people worshiped him as someone separate, they would never find the Christ within themselves. Judas's role was to carry out the act that forced humanity to stop looking outward and begin looking inward. His kiss was not an act of betrayal, but of recognition. He identified the man Jesus so that the Christ within all could be revealed. Judas represents the courage to hand over the false self, the small, fearful self full of trauma and limitation, so the true divine self can rise. To be free, you too must commit this betrayal. You must kiss your small self, recognize it, and hand it over. Only then does the Christ within resurrect. This hidden law appears again in Jeremiah's vision of the potter. Jeremiah saw a potter shaping clay into a vessel. The vessel broke, but instead of throwing away the clay, the potter reshaped it into something new. The potter is your consciousness. The clay is the raw substance of life. The broken vessel is your current reality, your finances, your health, your relationships, your failures. What do most people do? They try to fix the broken vessel from the outside. They patch it, stress over it, force it. But the divine instruction is not to fix the vessel. It is to reshape it entirely, to return to the workshop of imagination and mold the same clay into something new. And this is the secret most people miss. The law of imagination is impersonal, exact, and relentless. It works like gravity. Gravity doesn't care if you are good or bad. If you step off a building, you fall. The law of imagination doesn't care if you deserve joy or suffering. It simply reflects the state of consciousness you accept as true. Consider Aldous Huxley, the famous author of Brave New World. He once wrote, almost casually, that cancer is such a bore. Years later, he developed cancer on his tongue, the very organ that had spoken the words. The law did not judge him. It simply manifested the seed he had planted. Every word, every thought, every feeling is a seed, and every seed produces a harvest. The only question is, what are you planting? The Bible gives another clue in the story of Jacob and Esau. Esau represents your current reality, the facts your senses report. Jacob represents your desire, the dream you long to live. Isaac, the blind father, represents your subconscious mind. He cannot see facts. He only responds to what is felt. Jacob receives the blessing not by waiting, but by disguising himself as Esau. He clothes himself in Esau's garments, covers his skin so that he feels like Esau, and approaches Isaac. The father says, the voice is Jacob's, but the hands are Esau's. In other words, reason still doubted, But the feeling convinced the subconscious, and so the blessing was given. This story reveals the technique of creation. You must feel your desire as if it is already fulfilled. You must clothe yourself in its state until your subconscious accepts it as truth. Once it does, the outer world has no choice but to conform. This is not deception. It is the higher law of imagination reshaping the lower law of facts. And that is the true miracle. To stop thinking about your desire as something distant, and to begin thinking from it as if it were already yours. To betray the false self that says, I am weak, I am small, I am powerless, and to rise into the truth that says, I am the potter, not the clay. I am divine creativity itself. The system of control collapses the moment enough people remember this. Because a person who knows who they are cannot be controlled by fear, cannot be trapped by distractions, cannot be enslaved by illusions. Such a person lives from within, and every act of creation they make is an act of liberation for the whole. This is why the story of Judas is so dangerous. It shows that freedom begins with betrayal, not betrayal of truth, but betrayal of the false identity you were programmed to believe in. To be free, you must kiss your small self, recognize it, and hand it over to transformation. Only then can the Christ within you rise. You are not the broken vessel. You are the potter. You are not the victim. You are the creator. The universe does not give you what you want. It gives you what you are. And what you are is determined by the seeds you plant in your imagination every single day. So ask yourself, what seeds are you planting? Seeds of fear, limitation, and despair? Or seeds of freedom, joy, and creation? The law will not decide for you. It will only mirror you. The key has always been in your hands. The question is, will you use it? If you want prosperity, begin by asking yourself what it would feel like if you already had it right now. If you want health, imagine how your body would feel if it were already vibrant, strong, and full of energy. If you want love, ask yourself what the feeling of safety, joy, and deep connection would be like if it were already present in your life. The secret lies in building a short but vivid inner scene that would naturally unfold after your desire had been fulfilled. You don't just see it. You live it in your imagination with all the senses available to you. You hear the sounds, notice the small details, feel the textures, and absorb the atmosphere until it becomes so real inside you that your mind begins to accept it as truth. In this way, you trick the part of your being that governs your outer life. But just touching this feeling once is not enough. Life will always test you. The outer world will present you with the old appearances, the same doubts, the same conditions, the same voices telling you nothing has changed. These are like Esau knocking on your door, demanding back the blessing. If you want the new reality to take root, you need more than a fleeting vision. You need persistence. Yet persistence is not what most people think it is. It is not about straining, struggling, or forcing your mind. It is not about angrily repeating affirmations when your heart is full of fear. Real persistence is gentler, quieter, and far more powerful. It is fidelity. Think of a gardener who plants a seed. That gardener doesn't dig it up every day to check if it is growing. He doesn't scold the seed for taking too long. He waters it, protects it from harm, and trusts the natural process of growth. This is what persistence truly means in the creative process. It is loyalty to the unseen seed you planted in imagination. It is like the unshakable faith of a mother who knows the child is there long before birth, or the devotion of a lover who remains faithful even when the beloved is far away. It is a loyalty that does not depend on outer proof, because the truth has already been felt inwardly. When doubt or fear arises, you don't fight them, because fighting only gives them more strength. Instead, you return gently to your inner scene, to the feeling of already being where you wish to be. It is not a battle, but a return, like coming home to something familiar and true. You clothe yourself again in the feeling of the blessing. You refuse to betray your inner reality, no matter how loudly the outer world insists on its illusions. This quiet fidelity is the womb in which your seed grows, protecting it until the time of birth. The most liberating part of this entire law is that you do not need to know how, when, or through whom your desire will come. That is not your concern. The logical mind will always want to figure it out, but the logical mind is not the source of creation. The how belongs to the deeper intelligence within you, the subconscious, the divine principle that governs all. It has ways beyond your understanding. It can move people, open doors, rearrange events, and orchestrate circumstances so perfectly that you could never have planned them yourself. Just as a woman does not need to control each step of the pregnancy, you do not need to control the unfolding of your desire. You only need to remain faithful. This means you are not a powerless being begging for favor from a distant God. You are both the father who plants the seed of desire and the mother who nurtures it with feeling. Within you live both principles of creation, the masculine of intention and the feminine of gestation. Divinity is not somewhere else. It is the very mechanism of your being. And when you learn to give birth to your own desires, you begin to awaken to an even deeper truth. You can also do this for others, because the idea that you are separate from the world is the last great illusion to be undone. Every person you meet is part of the theater of your consciousness. The one who loves you is mirroring the love you have allowed yourself to feel. The one who irritates you is showing you the irritation you still carry within. They are not puppets without will, but aspects of your own vast mind playing out roles that reveal to you what lies hidden inside yourself. This is why true prayer for another is not sending energy to them from afar, but changing the concept you hold of them in your imagination. When you imagine them happy, prosperous, and free, you rewrite their role in your play. You free them from the old image you once held, allowing them to rise into the new state. Because your reality and theirs are deeply connected, the change within you opens a change in them. This is why when you encounter suffering in the world, the first question is not, why is this happening? But what in me is being reflected here? By taking responsibility for your perception, you reclaim your power over it. You forgive, you reimagine, you choose again. This does not make you passive or uncaring. On the contrary, it makes you a healing force of the highest kind, because the greatest gift you can give another person is not worry or pity, but vision. To hold them in your heart as whole, strong, blessed, and free is the deepest act of love. By doing so, you become a mirror that reflects divinity back to them rather than a mirror clouded by limitation. When you live this law, you begin to master the power of imagination for yourself and others. But there is a final revelation that goes beyond even this. The greatest illusion of all is the belief in separation. At the deepest level, there is no out there. The entire cosmos is within you. The whole universe and all who inhabit it are projections of your infinite consciousness. Life is a play, and you are not only one of the characters. You are the author, the director, and the stage itself. The mystics who walked this path before us have described this awakening as a kind of inner rebirth. It is not metaphor, but experience. Neville Goddard spoke of the moment when one awakens within the skull, when the veil of separation is torn apart, and the truth floods in with a force beyond words. In that moment, you realize you are not a child of God, not a fragment of God, not even like God. You are God, the source of all, the eternal I am that had been dreaming itself into limitation. Life was never a test from some external deity. It is a cosmic game of forgetting and remembering. You imposed this amnesia upon yourself so that you could rediscover your own power in the joy of awakening. Every fulfilled desire is a small reminder of this truth. Every success a glimpse of your infinite nature. And the gateway to this remembrance is silence. Not only silence outside, but silence within, the stillness beyond thought. It is the pure awareness of existence. I am. Not I am rich or I am poor. Not I am sick or I am well. Simply I am. It is the 0 point, the fertile void from which all realities emerge. Most people are afraid of this emptiness, but it is not empty. It is the womb of creation. It is the clay before the potter shapes it. When you enter this silence, you dissolve the old identity and the old story. You step out of your conditioned personality and become pure awareness, the space from which anything can be chosen. From this state, you can plant new seeds. You can step into any state of being, and the universe, which is your own infinite self, will faithfully bring it forth. Silence is not nothingness. It is pregnant with all possibilities. You do not need to build a new reality by struggle. You simply tune yourself to the frequency of the reality you wish to experience, like tuning into a radio station already broadcasting. This is the art of living in the end. It is not just seeing your desire as if it were far away. It is standing in the world that would exist if your desire were already fulfilled. It is feeling the textures, hearing the conversations, noticing the details of life as it would be in that state. You are not wishing. You are remembering. You are not hoping. You are being. This is how creation works. This is how desires are fulfilled. This is how the illusion of separation dissolves. And this is how you awaken to the most liberating truth of all. You are not a seeker begging from life. You are the life itself. You are not looking for God. You are God remembering himself through the dream of being human. Close your eyes and imagine for a moment. Not something far away, not something you're chasing, but a short, simple scene that shows your dream is already real. Keep it brief, just a few seconds. Hear the voice of a friend congratulating you. Feel the warmth in your chest as you relax into the relief of having what you wanted. Notice the little details. What would you touch, smell, or hear if your desire had already happened? If you wanted a new job, you wouldn't imagine the stress of an interview. Instead, you would picture yourself shaking a colleague's hand at the end of your first week, hearing them say, "It's been great having you here this week." In that one moment, everything is implied: the interview, the offer, the start date. It's all already behind you. You are not asking anymore. You are receiving. The scene doesn't matter as much as the feeling it gives you. What matters most is that you step into the vibration of "it's already done." That is why feeling is the secret. You could spend hours visualizing, but without the feeling of it being real, your inner state stays the same. The purpose of the scene is not the picture in your mind. It is the emotional shift in your body. When you can feel relief, gratitude, calmness, and the natural sense of "this is how it is now," you change your vibration. Your vibration is what speaks to the universe, not your words or your wishes. When you truly feel it real, you magnetize it into your life. The most powerful time to plant this inner scene is right before sleep. Sleep is the doorway to the subconscious, and the subconscious is the soil where new realities are born. When you fall asleep with the feeling that your desire is already true, you drop that seed into the richest soil possible. While your conscious mind rests, your subconscious begins to arrange the pieces, people, opportunities, timing, without any effort from you. By the time you wake, the unseen work has already begun. But when morning comes, the outer world may still look the same. Bills still arrive. Symptoms still linger. Loneliness may still press on you. This is the old reality, the leftover momentum. It is the moment when most people give up. This is the time to become the guardian of your new seed. Just as food shapes the health of your body, the diet of your thoughts shapes the health of your reality. A mental diet means you must carefully choose which thoughts you allow to grow. After you've assumed the feeling of the wish fulfilled, your task is no longer to push or beg for it. It is to protect it. That means becoming vigilant about what you dwell on. If you've planted prosperity, you cannot spend the day worrying about lack. If you've planted health, you cannot feed your mind with fear and complaint about illness. This is not about pretending problems don't exist. It is about loyalty to the higher reality you have already chosen. Every time you let doubt, fear, or negativity take root, you are watering weeds around your seed. When doubts or contrary thoughts come, and they will, don't wrestle with them. Fighting thoughts gives them more strength. Instead, simply withdraw your attention. Let them drift past like clouds in the sky. Then gently return to the inner feeling of your desire already fulfilled. It is like changing a channel on the TV. If a program you dislike comes on, you don't shout at the screen. You just pick up the remote and switch. Your attention is your remote control. Use it wisely. The ancient master Thoth warned, "Guard your thoughts always, for they will find expression." This is the heart of the mental diet. You are guarding the gates of your mind so that nothing can uproot or weaken your seed. This guarding extends to your words. If you have solved a problem in your imagination, you cannot spend the day speaking about it as if it still rules you. Complaining, repeating symptoms, or talking about lack is like digging up the seed you planted to check if it's growing. Each time you do this, you undo your progress. If someone else brings it up, you can smile, change the subject, or respond neutrally. But inside you remain faithful. You don't need anyone else to agree with you. You are building a private contract between your inner self and the universe. That loyalty, that refusal to betray your inner world, is the supreme act of faith. Faith is not wishing. Faith is refusing to let the evidence of your senses overturn what you have claimed within. But there is a way to go beyond simply protecting your seed. You can fertilize it, strengthen it, and speed up its growth. That fertilizer is gratitude, not the ordinary kind you feel after receiving something, but gratitude in advance. Gratitude for what you already know is done within you. Gratitude is the signal that tells the universe, it has been delivered. I have received it. Thank you. You cannot feel genuine gratitude for something you don't believe you have. So when you practice gratitude in advance, you are declaring your possession. Gratitude shifts you out of waiting and into receiving. It is impossible to feel deep gratitude and at the same time feel doubt, fear, or lack. Gratitude wipes those vibrations away. This practice is simple, but life-changing. After you create your short scene and feel it, let a wave of thankfulness fill your chest. Whisper in your heart, thank you. It is done. Carry that feeling through your day. When you remember your desire, don't ask when it will happen. Instead, smile inwardly and say thank you as if remembering a gift you've already opened. The more you feel this gratitude, the more your mind searches for reasons to be grateful. You start noticing signs, little blessings, and synchronicities. This builds a feedback loop. Gratitude multiplies itself, and with it, the evidence of your new reality multiplies too. All desires are sacred. They are not signs of weakness or greed. They are sparks of your higher self reminding you of your true nature. The desire for money is the call to remember your abundance. The desire for health is the call to remember your wholeness. The desire for love is the call to remember your unity. Every desire is the sleeping God within you asking to wake up a little more. This is why you should never judge yourself for wanting. Wanting is remembering. Manifesting is not just about getting things. It is about remembering who you are, one victory at a time. Life itself is the game of forgetting and remembering. Infinite power chose to forget itself so it could feel the joy of rediscovery. Without lack, abundance would mean nothing. Without illness, health would not be valued. Without loneliness, love would not feel so deep. The struggles you face are not punishments. They are the challenges in the game that make your triumph meaningful. Each time you manifest a desire, you awaken more of the God within you. You remember your own creative power. You rise from lead to gold, from heaviness to light. Every moment is a choice. You can live as the effect of circumstances, tossed like a leaf in the wind, or you can live as the cause, shaping your world from within. You can either let your attention be pulled by fear and the senses, or you can guide it to the higher truth you've claimed. You are either the potter or the clay. The choice is made not once, but every moment, with every thought you allow to take root. This is the real meaning of alchemy. The transformation was never about metal. It was about consciousness. Lead is the heavy, sleeping state that feels powerless and trapped. Gold is the radiant, awakened state that knows it is the cause of everything in its life. Each time you choose to hold the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you turn a little more lead into gold. The voice that calls you to this truth is not outside you. It is not in a distant teacher or an ancient book. It is inside you, the quiet whisper that tells you to choose love over fear, abundance over lack, power over victimhood. It is the voice of your own divinity, forgotten but never gone. To obey that voice is to obey your truest self. Now that you know this, you cannot go back. Ignorance is no longer an option. Every second, every thought, every feeling is shaping your reality. You are not a victim. You are not powerless. You are the creator, the cause, the potter, the alchemist. The universe is your clay, and your inner state is the hands that shape it. You can either continue as lead, or you can choose gold. The decision is yours in every breath.